Welcome back to Grid Drop. Today we're going to help you get faster around Formula One's fastest track, Jeddah. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave any feedback or questions in the comment section or in my Discord, which is linked in the description. That being said, let's get right into it. This video will be broken down into 5 sections: car setup, Sector 1, Sector 2, Sector 3, and finally, a full lap. These sections are all equally important, so stay tuned to the end of the video if you really want to improve. Here's the setup I run in Saudi Arabia. Feel free to pause the video and screenshot this if you want to try out this setup on your own. This setup prioritizes front-end grip throughout the entirety of the track without sacrificing too much straight-line speed. As a disclaimer, this setup is a general baseline for you to start with, and it applies to both hot laps and a race. I recommend doing a few laps with this setup and tweaking it to fit your own style. Sector 1 is the most difficult part of the Jeddah Corniche Circuit. Turn 1 is a very heavy braking zone after a long straight, so when approaching the corner, keep an eye on the meter boards to the right side of the track. What I pay attention to is the 150 meter board. Once you see the 150 meter mark, pay attention to both the bright yellow bit of the fence and the 100 meter board on the right. You want to brake just between these 2 points. I know these are very specific, but the meter boards can be difficult to spot when entering a braking zone at full speed, so the yellow bit in the fence is a quick indicator that the 100 meter board is next. When braking, you want to start turning in just after the 50 meter board on the right. Aim to take some of the green and white curb with your left wheels, but avoid the orange curb at all costs. Keep off the throttle and let the car rotate through the first corner before quickly switching your steering angle to the right. When entering the right-hander, it's possible to take some of this curb, but I recommend only being directly on top of it with your right wheels. This curb is raised, so if you dip your wheels all the way over the curb, it can slow you down or destabilize your car. Slowly getting back on the throttle now, swing your car all the way wide here and use the entire width of the track on exit. You want to be close to the wall on the left, and you can be decently aggressive getting back on the power now. Stay to the right side of the track and hug the wall as much as you can, and pay close attention to the meter boards on the right. The run through this corner is important for the upcoming sections of the track. Right at 50 meters, you want a quick and hard jam of the brakes and a few downshifts. Immediately turn into the corner and stick as close as you possibly can to the wall on the left-hand side. This corner is very difficult, so use flashbacks and practice getting a good line through here. Once mid-corner, stick to the left-hand side a split second longer than you think, as you should avoid taking too much curb on the right-hand side. This curb is also raised, so dipping over to the black painted area will result in a loss of grip. When getting back on the power, stick to the right-hand wall as much as you can. The positioning of your car is very important for the upcoming corners. This upcoming left-hander is taken flat out, and again, positioning is very important here. When taking this corner, you want a straighter approach, as you want to be tight to the wall for the next left-hander. Get close to the wall, but know that you're going to kick out wide at the end of the corner. When approaching this left-hander, stick as close to the wall as you possibly can, and this is extremely important. As soon as you're close to the wall and at the mid-corner point, physically look towards the curb on the right. You want to avoid this curb, but get as close as you possibly can to it. At this point, you should still be flat out, but a slight lift of the throttle when turning in can be helpful. The line through here is extremely important. You want to remain at full throttle and aim towards the left-hand curb. You do not want to dip over the left side of this curb, as doing so will bottom out your car and make you skid along the track. As soon as you straightened out your car, turn into the next corner. Here, you want a light tap of the brakes and one downshift. Stick as close as you possibly can to the right wall, as it sets you up for the next left-hander. As soon as you start to split from the wall, turn into the next corner. For this one, again, you want to avoid the left-hand curb as it'll destabilize your car. At this point, you should be putting more pressure on the throttle. After cutting close to the left curb, widen out your car and swing towards the right curb. You can take some of the curb here, but don't pass over it completely with your right wheels. Sector 1 is very difficult and it takes time to learn, so I recommend doing some practice laps. But overall, that's a run through of Sector 1, so let's see it at full speed. After the short straight, we're heading towards a long sweeping left. Here, you should keep an eye out for the 50 meter board on the right, and you want to brake right after this point. There are a few lines you can take through this corner. You can brake heavier and take a sharper line where you dip back into the corner, or you can have a medium brake input and have a more rounded corner. Both are interchangeable depending on the racing, but for now we'll use a more rounded line. As I mentioned before, brake just after the 50-meter board, and you want a strong brake input initially, but you can taper off quite quickly. After braking, start turning in and aiming towards the apex of the corner, which is a little bit later than you think. It's important to keep slight pressure on the throttle throughout the entire corner here, as this allows you to slowly increase your input when approaching the exit. Once exiting the corner, be cautious with your throttle as it's pretty easy to spin here. Widen out to the right side of the track, and by now, you should be able to put the power all the way down. Now, stick close to the right-hand wall and try to have the curbing in the middle of your car. Approaching the next corner now, naturally swing out to the left-hand side of the track and stick close to the wall. My way of remembering this braking point is to look where the curb initially bumps out and where the wall squeezes you the most. This comes with practice and feel for the track, so for now you can focus on the 50-meter board. Right at this point, either the 50-meter board or the track pumping out, you want a strong pump of the brakes and around 2 or 3 downshifts. When turning in, stick as close as you possibly can to the right wall. As soon as you're at the mid-corner point, focus your attention to the left curb. You can use this curb if you're careful, but it's generally best to stay away from it. Try to get close to this left curb and increase your throttle at the same time. Once exiting, pay attention to the right-hand wall. If you have a bad line through the next corner, it's easy to slam your car into the barriers here. You should aim to be close to the wall here, and now increase to full throttle. This upcoming section is quite easy, flat out sticking as close to the walls as you can, and then braking off at the right time to have the straightest possible line through. So that's a breakdown of Sector 2, now let's see it at full speed. Almost done with the lap now, and we have a very difficult corner coming up. Approaching the first corner in Sector 3, stick close to the wall on the right-hand side and pay attention to the right fence. You want to brake as you turn in here, and you should be looking to brake right after the 50-meter board. The meter board here is hard to see, so you can also judge the braking point using this electronic flag sign right here. Brake around 15 meters after this. Once braking, turn in at the same time and aim to be as close as you can to the left-hand wall. You should have around 2 to 3 downshifts here. After braking and turning in, you can already start putting pressure on the gas again. Make sure to avoid this curb on the right, as this can destabilize your car. If you have a bad run through here, or just have some understeer, using this curb is fine, but only if you have your right wheels on it. Once exiting the corner now, stick to the middle of the track and keep your steering angle locked, as the track naturally brings you through the next corner. This corner is taken flat out, and you should aim to have a basic outside, inside, outside line. On exit, stick as close to the left wall as you can in order to use the full width of the track. Now it's flat out until the final corner. Stick close to the left wall and naturally widen as the track turns, and then slowly stick it back towards the wall. When the corner approaches, slowly move to the right side of the track. You should brake right at this electronic flag sign, and this is a very heavy braking zone. This corner exit is pretty tight, and it's pretty easy to hit the wall.
Party and ruin that one too as he hits the wall!
To avoid this, turn in slightly later than you think you have to, and aim to be as close to the left wall as possible. Once mid-corner, look to the right wall so you can judge your car accordingly. Stick close to the wall and exit, and now put the power down and get ready for the DRS zone. That's a look at Sector 3, now let's see it at full speed. Now that we've seen every sector, let's watch a full lap. So there you have it, a full lap of Jeddah broken down corner by corner and sector by sector. If you have any questions or need more tips, feel free to leave a comment on this video or in my Discord. Also, let me know if you want to see more track guides, and if so, which ones would you like to see. So if you made it this far, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.